welcome to and I got it interrupted when I was creating our opening script. So I think it's our 137th online gathering for congregational leaders across the country. Maybe it's the 138th. I have to go back and listen. In any case, we've been here a lot of times, and this is Holy Week of 2023. This weekly gathering is called Courageous Leadership, and it's sponsored by ELCA's coaching ministry. I'm Jill Beverlin. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the program manager for this ministry and one of your facilitators today. So as part of my traditional land acknowledgement, I would like you to know that my home is located on the Fox River in Appleton, Wisconsin. This area is the ancestral territory of 5 nations of Native Indigenous peoples: the Menominee tribe, the Ho-Chunk Winnebago tribe, the Potawatomi tribe, the Oneida tribe, and the Stockbridge-Munsee Band of Mohicans and the Brothertown community. I honor and respect the diverse Indigenous peoples connected to this territory on which I live. Friends, as we step into our time today, I encourage us to remember that we are seeking to create a safer and braver space in these gatherings for you to bring the truth of who you are and how you are doing. These conversations are meant to be an intentional step to live more fully into God's dream for us as the body of Christ. Okay, friends, so again, welcome. We are so glad you're here. We did not know how many people would show up today with it being Holy Week. So thank you for being here. We just appreciate it and hope that we do have inspired conversation. At any point, if you want to put in the chat what your favorite part of Holy Week is and what about it makes it your favorite part, I would love to hear more about that. I'm going to start us off. Today is the first Wednesday of the month, so it is our traditional small groups by topics month. And a little bit later, Jason will let us know what our topics are. Our groups likely will be just a little bit smaller today. So I have a devotion for you, and I have to start this a little differently than I typically do when I share my screen, and I apologize for that. Jason, I'm gonna lose the ability to see everyone. So if someone needs something or you need me to stop or you're not hearing, please unmute because I won't see any of your faces in a minute. So I'll be really sad for the next few minutes because I won't be seeing your beautiful faces. Okay, can someone just let me know if you're seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start.
Monday.
So good to me.
We can't use that amazing song because copyright, but welcome to Thoughtcast, a podcast where preachers figure out their sermons together. We're at the beginning of the 3 days, the high holy days of our liturgical calendar. We begin with Maundy Thursday. For me, I think about how the disciple whom Jesus loved is introduced in this story, and there's another disciple whom Jesus loved, Judas, who receives this sacrament of foot washing.
I never thought I would be sympathetic towards Judas until I saw the movie Mary Magdalene. And this realization of Judas just being human and Judas following who he believes Jesus to be and trying to force events so Jesus would have to reveal who Jesus is the way that Judas wants him to. And this realization that Judas is also part of this foot washing, that Judas is also part of this sacrament.
Yeah. And,
Right.
and you're bringing to my mind too, Hina, that, the Maundy Thursday reading is from John, and
It's the only story. John's the only one who gives us the story.
Right. And the other time when somebody forces Jesus to reveal who he is also happens in John, and that's when Mary turns to the custodian at the wedding and says, just do what he says. And yeah, Judas is, I think, trying to play that same hand. And ultimately, Jesus does, just not how Judas wants it, I guess.
It's really easy to demonize Judas And so I appreciate not just Mary Magdalene, but also Jesus Christ Superstar, The Last Temptation of Christ, and other stories, narratives that take into account what Judas was trying to do or must have been thinking, or it's just very easy to demonize him, to push him off into the corner. George Woodruff, although I'm sure others have said it, that the true test of Christianity isn't loving Jesus, it's loving Judas.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't think there's any way that Jesus ever stopped loving Judas.
Or Simon Peter.
Fully.
No, you're not going to wash my feet.
And again, Lord, you'll never wash my feet. He comes back at him again. He doesn't do it 3 times. He'll save that for his denial.
But then also, not just my feet, but everything. Like, let me be the example.
Mm.
And yet, Simon Peter is the example. Whether he, like, when he publicly wants to be the example, like, no, you're not going to wash my feet. And if you're going to wash me, you're going to wash all of me. But then when he doesn't want to be the example of what's going to happen over the next couple of days. No, I have nothing to do with him. I don't know him.
Yeah, I think that's a fun hook you could hang a Monday, Thursday sermon off of, is this idea of example, because the whole night is full of examples, right? And anti-examples, which then end up being examples. I think that's great. I think another thing I lean into on Monday, Thursday when I'm leading a parish, and it's something that can, I don't know that you can hang a sermon off of it, but it is something that you add to the service, which is just all the sensory overload that this service provides you. Not only with feet and with touch, the sound of water, you could even do the clanking of coins in a tin bowl at the end of service, which is Judas throwing the coins at the feet, or them throwing the coins at Judas' feet. I mean, all sorts of sensory moments that can happen in this.
The stripping of the altar.
The smelling of bread, the smelling of wine that can happen. I mean, all sorts of neat things. And I think a sermon could be hung off of this idea of sensory overload on this night. And just being overwhelmed by all of it. Because I think Judas is overwhelmed, Peter is overwhelmed, and eventually we know in the garden Jesus will be overwhelmed.
I think another, I'm not sure if it could be a hook, but maybe, is that this is the one sacrament, literally, like Jesus commands his followers to do it, and we don't. Oh, generally. We do it once a year. We do communion a lot more, We share in communion a lot more, but this is something that's very, very, as we said, sensory. It's very intimate. Jesus commands it. It uses an earthly element, water, and yet we do not consider this a sacrament. When by the book, it's the only sacrament he does. It feels like to me, in some ways. Were you there when he washed my feet? It's very powerful.
I think the intimacy of feet is a problem for humans.
It is.
Yep.
So going back to my Hindu days, you don't touch another person's feet. Not in the biblical sense. Like, you just don't touch other people's feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you are showing a deep sign of respect. So the area where my family's from in India, in order to show respect to your elders, you do something called pranam. And you touch a person's feet and then you touch your head to show that they are your elder. But I also think that there's something almost cosmetic to Maundy Thursday that happens in today's church services. Do you know how many manicure pedicure salons get booked up before Maundy Thursday? Because if people are putting intimate parts of themselves on display, they don't want to put the actual intimacy out there.
Yeah.
They're putting a cosmetic aspect of it out there, of like, look at how presentable I am. But we're not called to be presentable. We're called to be the glorious hot messes in the multitudes that we've been made.
That's a sermon title. The Glorious Hot Mess. Because Monday, Thursday is a glorious hot mess. And I mean, if you want to bring to light the argument that happens every Monday, Thursday, in a pastor's head, at least, on whether to wash feet or wash hands or something like that, because they're afraid of that intimacy, or afraid that people won't participate, or afraid of, I mean, all sorts of fear. Monday, Thursday is an evening of fear in so many ways.
It really is, because who wants to take off their shoes and then their socks and then release who they are sensory-wise into the world? Because depending if they've gotten the pedicure or not, did they put odor eaters in their shoes? There's something actually kind of scary about this, that there is this fear of like, am I presenting myself in my best way versus am I presenting myself in the realest way?
It's very vulnerable, which is what intimacy brings out often.
And Jesus is this horrifyingly, terrifyingly perfect example of vulnerability in so many different ways. And to think of God as that vulnerable? Ooh.
Yeah, Our Vulnerable God is another good title for a sermon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, it's dependent on your comfort level, but be you.
Right.
Don't feel like you have to mask who you are.
Feel like you can be you.
Yeah.
Because that's precisely who Jesus loves.
You. You and you, the way God fully made you to be.
Engage the senses. Tell the story. Thoughtcast is one of the constellation of offerings of the Anam Cara community. Learn more at anamcaracommunity.org.
Mondi.
With that, friends, let us pray. Infinite and intimate God, you kneel before your friends and wash our feet. Bound together in your love, trembling, we drink your cup and watch. Grant us the will to be the servant of others as you were servant of all through Jesus, who gave up his life and died for us and yet lives beyond death eternally with you and the Holy Spirit. Grant that we who receive these sacred mysteries may grow more fully each day into the image of Jesus until we come to our eternal joy with you. For this, we most fervently pray. Amen. So welcome, glorious, hot messes of God, right? I'm so anxious. I wish I could just sit and unpack this thoughtcast with all of you. For those of you that haven't quite polished your Monday, Thursday sermon, here it is. Lots of hooks that they brought for you, right? Yeah, okay, yes. And Sylvia, you couldn't have set us up any better. I did not plant Sylvia to say, when I asked, what's your favorite part of Holy Week? I did not call her on the phone earlier and say, make sure that you unmute and say Monday, Thursday. That was true serendipity, Holy Spirit working. I just want you to know that. But so much for us to unpack as we move to our small group. So I'm going to add, in addition to your topic for the day, I encourage you to talk about one thing that really struck you from this particular, it's kind of a devotion, but it was kind of like a little presentation too. And certainly, I hope thought-provoking. I loved the emphasis on coming authentically as who you are, and the celebration that God, that's who God really wants to be in relationship with, not the cosmetic part of you. So I've threatened to have pet day on courageous leadership. I think that we just have to have like no makeup, no shower day on courageous leadership, and let ourselves, show up authentically who we are, the uncosmetized selves. And of course it would just be me in my pajama pants and my hair sticking straight up, but it could be fun. I don't know. So friends, with that, I encourage Jason, yes, to, did you share the screen, Jason, about the breakout rooms?
Not yet.
Okay, maybe we can do that. Share the screen of breakout rooms, and then we can head there and have conversation.
And the rooms are open, and you can select that yourself. Let me see if I get things out of the way. I think you can see that.
Well, dear friends, welcome back to the space. I hope that you enjoyed inspired conversation. And as is our habit, I would love to hear what are some themes that bubbled up for you or learnings, keeping the confidence of your small group buddies.
Well, it's Janice, and I will just say it was a pleasure to sit with others in the advocacy room. I think we got into what we sometimes call coaching, but really listening with curiosity and what kinds of questions, how to frame, how to gather with others from different sides of the topic, different opinions, and being able to maintain friendships and that dedication that it takes to say, being a friend, showing up for somebody, even when we don't agree, is really still important. So it was rich conversation about people who have spent time with different kinds of groups and in foreign lands as well as here at home in US. So I just appreciate that tenacity of people that come on this Wednesday.
Beautiful. It's not an easy path to walk, especially with differing worldviews sometimes. Yeah, thank you for naming that. Tammy, I saw you unmute.
Oh, I just joined the group late. So I joined the group and I kind of went, okay, I think I know who you're talking about. So I'm probably not the best person to summarize our time, other than we really wrestled with just the state of our world right now, with the indictment and with what that means for our race relations kinds of conversation. And I invite one of you who had the full gamut of the experience, if there's something that would be a better summary than what I just did.
Well, I'll just add, Tammy, basically, we just really, lifted up the difference when it comes to the criminal justice system racially. And so we had a real full and rich conversation talking about that.
Pastor Gwen, I voted yesterday, and one of the things on our ballot was the opportunity to change some of the bail protocols. And it was very clear to me that if those things went through, it would be harmful to siblings of color. And I felt very strongly about that. So thank you for naming that we just have to think about these things when we go to the polls, when we are engaging our identities as baptized children of God, right? That ripple effects out to everything that we do, including creating policies like this, right?
And what is our role as the church? I mean, how is it that we really invite people to get out there with their voice and be present at the polls? And I mean, how do we, maybe this ties into the advocacy piece, but we just feel like we can't be complacent.
One of the people in our little group brought our attention to a lovely, lovely poem by a woman named, and I put it in the chat, by a woman named Lucy Nansen, called Wash My Hands on Maundy Thursday. It talks about all the things our hands do in life. And you know, from peeling potatoes to comforting someone to doing things that we shouldn't do, and asks that on Maundy Thursday, you wash my hands. It's lovely. So
Thank
I
you.
encourage people to check it out.
Wonderful. Jason, maybe you can post that if we have permission to do that with this recording.
Yeah. It's on the internet. I found it, you know, easily. So I
Sure.
think it probably would be fine.
Sure. Sure. John, I want to acknowledge that you unmuted as well. Did you have something to share before we end?
Not that's important to say no. I was just going to say, Holy Week for me is how do I get my fanny to heaven, and all this other talk isn't relevant.
Okay. All right. All right. That's fair. That's fair. Well, friends, with that, I do wish you blessings as we all continue our journey through Holy Week, as John figures out how to get his fanny to heaven. We're with you, friend, in that.
Jesus has already figured it out.
Right? Just a little insight there, John.
Amen.
But yes, yes. And we look forward to being with you next week. If you aren't taking the entire week off after Easter, somewhere in a corner in a heap, recovering from the journey of Holy Week, we would love to have you back. We're going to keep it light next week, but also at the same time, have some significant things to talk about in the midst of humor. So our focus will be on humor, but also entertaining some important concepts therein. So for those of you that can make it, we look forward to seeing you then. As always, friends, please know that you are seen, you are valued, and you are loved. Especially know that this Holy Week. Yes. Thank you, friends. God bless you.
Assalamu alaikum.